In this excerpt from the 5-hour video Pool's Biggest Secrets Revealed 3 Pattern Play, I'm going to show you a little trick you can use to help figure out what side spin you'll need when sending the cue ball off a rail. So if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so now I'm going to show you an easy way to figure out what spin to use to move the cue ball around the table. And first, we're going to be discussing running English. So in this example, I'm playing 8-ball and I'm on my last ball. And I need to play a position for the 8-ball at the other end of the table, which means the cue ball will be traveling in this direction for position. So the first thing I do is I look at the first rail the cue ball is going to strike after hitting the object ball, which in this case would be the end rail. And when people talk about running English, they're talking about a spin that works with the cue ball's natural path. And here's what I mean. In this shot, if I just roll this ball in, we see that the cue ball's natural path goes to the right after striking the rail. So right spin would be running English. And now I'll shoot the same shot again with right spin, and we see the cue ball's angle widen once it strikes the first rail, and its speed is also increased. So if we shot the same shot from this side, now if I roll the ball in, the cue ball's natural path heads to the left after striking the first rail. So left spin in this case would be running English. So if you want to figure out running English on each shot, always face the first rail the cue ball is going to strike. Then figure out which way the cue ball is going to head, left or right. In this shot I'm shooting the 4-ball and I need to end up on the 5-ball at the other end of the table. So I'll need to travel 2 to 3 rails to get to my position area. And I can tell by facing the first rail the cue ball is going to hit that the cue ball will naturally go right off this rail after pocketing the ball. So if I use right spin, then the cue ball's path will widen and speed up after striking the first rail. In this example, I want the cue ball to go around the table for position on the 8-ball. And I know that by looking at the shot, the cue ball will naturally go to the right after striking the object ball. So in this case, I would use right spin to aid the cue ball in getting around the table. So when determining what spin to use, just look at the shot and figure out which direction the cue ball will travel after striking the first rail. So in this shot, if I face the first rail the cue ball will strike, I can see that it will naturally travel to the left after striking the rail. So my running English in this shot would be left spin. In this example, I'm going to pocket my last ball and spin down to the end rail for position on the 8-ball. And I know that by looking at the shot, the cue ball will naturally go to the right after striking the first rail. Since the cue ball is going to go to the right after striking the first rail, then right spin would be running English. That means I can shoot this shot very softly with right spin, and the cue ball is going to travel down to this end rail for position on the 8-ball. And it's not going to take that much of an effort. Now I'm going to shoot the same shot at the same speed, but this time I'm going to use left spin. And you can see that the left spin had an immediate effect on the cue ball, not only slowing it down but also changing its angle. This is referred to as reverse English, or reverse spin. This is how strong players kill the cue ball when they don't want it to run away. For instance, here I have an angle on my last strike, but I need to hold the cue ball for the 8-ball. So I'm going to shoot 3 shots and I'm going to shoot them all at the same speed. The first shot I'm going to shoot with a soft rolling cue ball. And we can see that I ended up here. The next shot I'm going to shoot with center left. And since left spin would be running English in this case, since the cue ball naturally wants to go left after striking the rail, the cue ball will have extra speed on it and move away from our position area. Finally, I'm going to shoot this shot with reverse spin, which in this case would be right hand spin. And now we can see that the cue ball hit the brakes after striking the rail. So to determine running and reverse English, first look at the shot, then face the first rail the cue ball will strike. So in this shot, I would walk over here and face the rail. Now I know the cue ball will naturally go right after striking the rail. So right spin would be running English. If I wanted to kill the cue ball, I can use left spin. And facing the rail like this works on all spin shots when you're striking a rail. For instance, in this shot, the cue ball is heading straight to the end rail after pocketing the object ball. And let's say I want the cue ball to end up here for shaping the 8-ball. Well, the first thing I do is I face the first rail the cue ball is going to strike, which in this case is the in rail. Now I simply ask myself, which direction do I want the cue ball to go after it strikes the rail, left or right? Well, I need the cue ball to go left for my position area, so in this shot I'm going to use left spin. Here's a spin shot that sometimes confuses players. I'm playing 9-ball and I'm straight in on the 1 ball, and my 2 ball is at the other end of the table. So I need to draw the cue ball straight back and spin it down table for shape on the 2 ball. So to figure out what spin I'll be using, I'm going to stand on this side of the table and face the first rail the cue ball will strike. Since I want the cue ball to go right when it hits this rail, then right spin is what I need to put on the cue ball. So I'll be shooting this shot with low right. Here's another example of a shot that sometimes confuses people. I'm on the 2 ball and I need to get here for the 3 ball. And the only path to this area is the 3 rail spin shot. So once again, I walk over to this side of the table and I face the first rail the cue ball will strike. Since I want it to go right after striking the rail, then I'm going to use right spin. And I also need to pull the cue ball back to this rail, so I'm also going to be using draw. And now we see the spin moving the cue ball to this area for shape on the 3 ball. So when using spin, it's important to remember how the cue ball will be affected after striking the first rail. Running English will speed up the shot and widen the angle, while reverse English will slow down the shot. And this is why you need to develop a feel for spin.